Well, thank you both, gentlemen, very much. I appreciate it. It's always so fascinating to listen or eavesdrop in on guys who really know tactics and really understand the sport. As somebody who raced as an amateur in crits, it really is remarkable, all of the strategy and tactics that goes into this. I'd like to welcome somebody who I spoke with briefly there on the stage, and that's Steve Otero. He's the communications coordinator for the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program. You work to assist those transitioning airmen and to assure that their families and they have strong support after they come back from Iraq or Afghanistan, all the various things that they need. Can you talk to us about your job, what you do, and why it plays such a critical role in helping our men and women heal when they've come back?
Sure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's really nice to be here. The Air Force Wounded Warrior Program is designed to care for all wounded, ill, and injured airmen, either coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, but we also care for those very seriously ill individuals, like say somebody with MS or cancer, the wide variety of very seriously debilitating diseases. So we currently got about 3,400 airmen in the program. It's my role really to ensure that all the communications, outreach, and marketing of the program is really delivered to those airmen clearly and concisely to them and their families, to make sure that people know what style of or what kinds of benefits are available to them.
And I think a lot of folks don't realize that there are that many out there.
Right. Actually, the number of airmen, unfortunately, is growing at a rate of about 75 per month right now. While I've been employed with the program for about the past 8 months, unfortunately, that number's jumped up from about 50 per month, pretty significantly here just over the past couple of months. The population, as it expands, it definitely requires larger staff, larger funding, amounts, but that's really a beautiful thing as we have a great partnership now with the Air Force Association, and they've been providing multiple benefits to all of our airmen in the program, things like adapted sports equipment, things like bridging the gap during transition with a little bit of additional funding directly to a family. When an airman retires, there may be 60 to 90 days where they don't have a paycheck whatsoever. And now we definitely encourage everybody to have great financial management skills, but sometimes 3 or 4 months go on, that's really going to hit the family savings account, So the Air Force Association really helps us out greatly with that kind of stuff, in ensuring that our airmen and their families are going to be able to make a smoother transition overall.
And not only are you an employee, but you are a wounded warrior yourself. Can you tell us your story?
Yes, sir. Well, a couple of tours. I was a combat photographer, and a couple of tours Iraq and Afghanistan. My tour in Afghanistan was cut short a little bit. Came back with a pretty nasty bulging hernia, had a bunch of nerve damage in my abdomen. Had to come home and have a few abdominal surgeries to correct a bunch of nerve damage. They discovered I had a traumatic brain injury.
These are from probably IEDs, I would gather?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so for me, it was unique because it wasn't one singular incident that caused my wounds. I've been dealing with post-traumatic stress for a number of years now. They didn't even actually discover the TBI until it was a little too late. I was actually out of the Air Force, and the VA discovered the TBI doing some scans, and having to juggle that kind of having to juggle those kinds of injuries has definitely been a challenge. But the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program reached out to me, started sending me to adapted sports camps, started offering employment assistance, a little bit of resume advice, and they helped me get my first job out of the Air Force. And then after about 18 months of working with them, being an airman receiving benefits, then my current boss said, "Hey, Steve, we're building a communications outreach position. We'd really love for you to apply. There's no guarantees, but we really think you're a good, strong candidate." So I did, and kept my fingers crossed, and now I wake up every day feeling blessed.
Great story, dream job, because you get to give back to the men and women who are in the same position that you were in.
Absolutely, yes, sir. It's the greatest pleasure I could have ever imagined in my life. I get to serve my wounded brothers and sisters each and every day. I feel like I love to be able to work 24 hours a day if I possibly could.
And real quick, we're going to get back to the race here real fast because things are starting to get really exciting. But tell me about is it the Wounded Warrior Games, and then there's going to be an international one as well. This is really exciting stuff.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and keep it quick. Yeah, we're going to have two big events coming up. A big international event called the Invictus Games. Prince Harry and the British government is sponsoring that. I think we're going to have 13 allied nations coming out. We're going to have 100 Wounded Warriors from the United States representing Team USA. And that'll be the first part of September over there in London. And then 2 weeks after that, we've got the Warrior Games coming up in Colorado Springs, out at the USOC. And so those will be two really big competitions coming up. And the Warrior Games is actually going to be, that's our big DoD inter-service competition, where we'll be competing against the other 4 branches of service. And I'm very, very sure that this year, the Air Force is going to give everybody a big run for their money.
Steve, thank you so much for what you do now and for what you did for our country. We most appreciate your service.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Okay, back to you guys.